You feel the glove, love? What's your name?
Gary Payton, but they call me the glove.
How you feeling tonight?
Yo, I'm feeling the love.
Feel the love, glove?
Sonic! Yo, Sonic! Man, stay off the light speed.
My bad.
Sonic Adventure on Sega Dreamcast. It's thinking.
Okay, I do not like the implications of that one, but it's certainly better than anything they put out for the Saturn. Anyway, good evening, folks. Hope you all had a good work week. And tonight we are playing Sonic Adventure. And joining me tonight is the only other Sonic fan that I know personally who is not crazy. You know her from my Until Dawn review and Mario Party. I'm, of course, talking about Steffi, the MLG Panda.
It's nice to be on the stream again. And Blade, that commercial made me feel like I was having an anxiety attack.
Yeah, is it just me or did it seem like Tails was having a seizure there?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And I really don't like the implication that Sonic's on speed. That just explains way too much.
You gotta admit, that's a funny joke, though.
Anyway, so a little part of the reason why I wanted to have Steffi on the stream tonight was it kind of goes back to how we met. Me and Steffi met at college in 2014, I want to say. Our college had a section of the campus center where they had a bunch of game consoles lined up, and we would go there over the weekend just to play games with the friends. Or at least that's probably what Steffi did. I just wanted to play my games in peace, but I would play Sonic games occasionally, and Steffi started talking to me as she saw me playing them. And we just sort of bonded over our love of Sonic, and we've been good friends ever since. I'd say that's pretty accurate, isn't it, Steffi?
Yeah, definitely. I was one of those awkward kids that didn't really know how to approach people, so I made it my mission to go and talk to anyone that was playing Sonic over there. And you happen to be one of those people, and I'm so glad it happened.
Yeah, the big, sketchy dude in a Punisher skull and cowboy hat that everyone was afraid to be around, right?
But you were playing Sonic.
Yeah, anyway, so yeah, that's why I wanted to have Steffi on the stream. Like, we'd always debate the quality of certain Sonic games, and Sonic Adventure was always one that came up in conversation. Now, that's not to say I don't like the game. I love Sonic Adventure, but I always felt that there were better 3D Sonic games. Like, I was always big on Sonic Colors personally, and Steffi was never a big fan of that one, and she said she always preferred something like Sonic Adventure, so I kind of always associate this as one of her favorite games in the series because of that. Whether or not that's true, I'm not really sure. What do you think, Steffi?
Well, I do have to admit that most of my love for this game and Sonic Adventure 2 are for nostalgia. Sonic Adventure 2 was my first Sonic game, and then of course I played this one too because I loved the second one so much. And I remember like being obsessed with this game and just playing it over and over and over as a kid. But now when I play it as an adult, like I see more of the flaws, and I mean, I still have a great time with it, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely aged.
Yeah, that's what I've always felt about the game too, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. What do you know about the history of this game, Steffi?
Admittedly, I don't know a lot. I know it was a big deal for the Dreamcast, and it was like the first fully 3D Sonic game that they were really marketing.
Alright, so you're right on the money there. So as you probably saw from my last couple of videos on Sonic, the dude had it rough in the late 90s. Like, after Sonic 3, it was just forever between mainline Sonic games. There was no shortage of Sonic games. You had a bunch of games on the Game Gear, and you had a few games on the 32X and Sega Saturn. But nothing really concrete on the level of the Genesis games ever came out. And like Sega Technical Institute tried and failed to get a 3D Sonic game out on the Saturn, which was Sonic Extreme. And Sonic Team instead chose to make Knights instead of a 3D Sonic game. But right after they finished Nights and right after Sonic Extreme got canceled, they went straight to work on a 3D Sonic game. But as they got a prototype working, they got word that the Saturn was going to be abandoned in favor of the Dreamcast. So they shifted gears to develop the game for the Dreamcast. And that prototype ended up being the Hedgehog World for Sonic Jam. So, like, development for that 3D Sonic game was just hellish, even for a Sonic team. But when they started on the Dreamcast, development went a lot smoother just because the hardware was a lot easier to program for. And because the hardware was still in development at the time, Sonic team was actually able to request hardware changes as they were making the game. For example, they realized they needed more RAM for Sonic Adventure, so they actually were able to get more RAM in the console without the price being jumped up a whole great deal. They were under a crunch, but they managed to get it done, and the game would release in 1999, September 9th, the iconic release date of the Sega Dreamcast, 9/9/99, for $2.99 I think it was. And Sonic Adventure would probably be the first game most people would play on the Dreamcast. And even today, it still stands as the best-selling game on the console with over 2.5 million copies sold. It's also one of the biggest landmarks in the Sonic series because it was the first true 3D Sonic game. And it really set the standard for a few years. Even today, this is still a huge fan favorite amongst fans of the series. Though, of course, you have a vocal mindset of the fan base who say that it has aged or that it's just downright bad, that it was never good to begin with, which I don't agree with, and by the sound of it, you don't agree with that either, Steffi.
No, I think that this is still like an awesome game. It's really fun. There are definitely areas it could have improved in, but it's just such a joy to play.
And we're going to get into all of that. I figured out how I'm going to show off Sonic Adventure. So we're going to go ahead and get the game started. So how I'm going to play this game, originally I just wanted to record it off my Dreamcast, but I discovered last week playing NFL Blitz that the Dreamcast output's really weird, and because of that my capture software doesn't pick it up. So I was afraid there for a second that I would have to use the DX version of the game, which for the record is not a bad version at all. It's basically the same game as the Dreamcast game, just with some updated graphics. But, like, every time Sega ports the game up, it seems to get worse and worse. So the PC version of Sonic Adventure DX is just an absolute train wreck of glitches. But then I discovered a mod for the game, a better Sonic Adventure, which basically restores the Dreamcast graphics while also keeping the desirable stuff from DX. So it runs at 60 FPS. The pre-rendered cutscenes are still cleaned up, and it has all the extra missions too. So if you want to play Sonic Adventure these days, pick up the PC version, apply the mod. It's very easy to do, plenty of tutorials on YouTube, and it is definitely worth it. And from what I understand, Steffi, you've never actually played or seen the original Dreamcast version, have you?
I have. I'm actually really excited to see what it looks like.
This should be very interesting for you then.
All
But anyway,
right.
let's go ahead and get the game started. And before we get started, Sonic Adventure does have some sound mixing issues, and because of that, a lot of audio can get really loud. And while we might be coming in clear, the music for us is going to be so loud that we might not be able to hear each other talking over Discord. So if we start talking over each other, it might just be because we don't realize it. So please bear with us on this. We're going to do our best. Eh, Steffi?
Yep, we will certainly try.
Alright, so here we go. Back when they actually animated the logos.
Those are the good old days.
And now for one of my absolute favorite pre-title sequences in a video game. And what I love about this is that it doesn't even look like the intro to a Sonic game. This could be the intro to like an Avengers game or something. Like you got the ominous music, then the water starts shooting out of the street. A massive flood out of nowhere, clearly unnatural. The title hits. Great title, by the way. Then the music picks up. You see the signs of disaster. More destruction. A landmass falling from the sky, which we can identify as Angel Island. A tidal wave now. Images of a monster. And now that flood turned into a Godzilla-sized monster. Holy crap. But then, in the distance, a blue blur, thundering footsteps. And then it just builds, and it builds, and it builds. And then it just explodes! Yeah!
I think they get the point, Blade.
I know how long this will last.
I always did really think this opening was just cool.
It's so good. It's just so good. They even made Big look badass. I mean, and then just this image of Sonic. Oh, yes! Yes! Yeah! Get so pumped up. And damn good title screen too. The graphic design is great. The rust around the logo is good. Really strong.
I wish the DX version kept that same logo. It looks a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does. So Sonic Adventure is known for its multiple playable characters, and for this stream, I wanted to show off every character that's playable. But in order to play every character, you have to get to a certain point, actually meet all the characters in the story. So I went ahead and played through Sonic's story in order to unlock everyone. So we're going to first start with Sonic by starting a new game file. And they knew how awesome the title music was, because it's still Open Your Heart.
It is still pretty cool. I would like to dive into some of these lyrics, though.
Oh yeah, she's got a list on it, and it's going to sound like beat poetry.
So let's dive into the beginning sequence, the Open Your Heart song, while Sonic's story starts. All right. Thunder, rain and lightning, danger, water rising, clamor, sirens wailing. It's such a bad sign. Shadows, dark creatures, steel clouds floating in the air. People run for shelter. What's going to happen to us?
Hold it right there for a second, Steffi. I just want to comment on this. Like, I love this introduction for Sonic. Like, he kind of enters the scene like a superhero, jumping across the rooftops like Spider-Man. Then he sees a bunch of cop cars headed towards Town Hall, jumps down, wonders what's going on. And then he heads toward the trouble. Just like a true badass that he is.
I'm noticing, too, that they made him a lot shinier in the DX version, and I don't really like that.
A lot of people complained about that.
You are completely surrounded. Surrender yourself.
I see the chaos
And of course,
for
we got
everyone. Who are we? What can we do?
I bet that's what these cops are thinking right now.
Probably.
Yes, that's a great idea. Shoot your guns at a creature that's made of water.
Jagger, they can't hold on much longer. They'll never let go.
I like how that one guy just keeps shooting. And get our first introduction to the big bad game, Chaos. And imagine how surprising this must have been for gamers in 1999. Because at this point, we were used to seeing Sonic fight Eggman and his robots. So something like Chaos Zero is just completely out of the norm. Not much of a boss fight, though.
It is interesting how this game has like actual tough boss fights and then easier ones like this.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
It's best if it opens with an easy boss fight if you're going to open with a boss fight anyway. If it's too hard and you die within the first seconds of the game, that doesn't bode well.
That is a good point.
Gonna check our sound real quick.
Where you going?
Rest of the game, that doesn't bode well.
That is a good point.
I can't hear you, Steffi, but you're coming in clear on the stream somehow.
You can't hear me.
A little bit. When the action gets big, I can't hear you.
I guess I just can't compete with all the action on screen.
It's chaos. The god.
It is hard to compete. I like to think that Sonic isn't even staying at this hotel. He's just catching a nap in the pool area and no one's asking him to leave.
Huh?
And that sounds about right.
What? Tails? Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah!
It is very strange seeing Sonic's eyelids be the color of his skin.
Alright, so before we go to Rescue Tails, we usually talk about a narrative hook in games, which I usually don't talk about for Sonic because up to this point his games haven't really had a story. But one of the mission statements Sonic Team had during development was they wanted to make a more story-driven Sonic game. So Steffi, I think something we've always agreed on is that the story in Sonic Adventure actually is really good. Do you still agree with that?
Yeah, I'd say so. I feel like parts of it aren't really told that well through the game, but it is a very good story, and I really like how they did it in the anime adaptation too.
Yeah, like in regards to like writing, how the plot is structured, it's extremely well done, but the storytelling does leave something to be desired. The voice acting and writing itself is very hit or miss. And the animations are all done with in-game graphics, animations, stuff like that. And it can probably appear cheap to some people, but you gotta remember they were on a time crunch. They didn't have time to pre-render every cutscene, so they were probably cutting corners as much as they could. But for the most part, I think they did a good job. It could always be worse.
So I do have a question about that. As far as the graphics are concerned, I still see a lot of the same issues in the director's cut version. Why weren't some of those graphical problems corrected at that point?
That is a very good question, Steffi. It's, I'm trying to think. I wish I had a good answer for you, but unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for you. My guess is Sega just realized that they can make a quick buck re-releasing Sonic Adventure and then just did the bare minimum to, improve it for the DX version.
I guess so, and I do feel like releasing it on the GameCube was a smart decision because...
Yeah, especially after Sonic Adventure 2, which was a huge hit on the GameCube when it came out. But anyway, let's get to the gameplay itself. Our first action stage. Okay, so we always start with the controls, and the controls in Sonic Adventure, at least for Sonic stages, are just fantastic. So you see right here, I'm not moving very fast, but if I have Sonic move forward a little bit, he gradually picks up speed, just like he would in the previous games. And that's part of what makes Sonic Adventure so satisfying to control, because the weight on Sonic is so good. He's affected by terrain. The faster you go, the tighter his turns get. And like, I can make these turns without much issue. This is in contrast to how they handle the physics in modern Sonic games, where instead of basing it on the momentum and just making sure that's as tight as possible, they just feel a need to give Sonic a run button, so they only have 2 speeds to work with. What do you think, Steffi?
Yeah, I definitely see that. I do really like the momentum system in this game, how he just keeps going faster if you keep running with him. I encounter a lot of issues with it, though. I run into walls a lot, and turns aren't as tight, but it's definitely better than like later games where it seems like his Sonic speed is scripted at certain parts.
I just want to make sure you're done talking before I actually speak. I can't hear you, Steffi.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm done.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone, about the sound issues.
Now, it's not a problem for them, it's a problem for us. So here's a good example of the physics. So I run up here, and I start to lose speed a little bit as I hit that slope. And you also see how fast you're going through the animation, too. And the level design is just great. They're basically 3D roller coasters, just as they should be in a Sonic game.
You got to see the iconic whale scene.
Oh yeah. And stuff like that is automated, just there for spectacle. But it's memorable. Like, there are a lot of good set pieces in this game.
Yeah, like going back to what I was saying, like it feels like the later Sonic games really rely too much on those scripted scenes where, like, Sonic is going to go as fast as he was programmed to go in those scenes, and you don't really have control over that.
Yeah, they have come to rely on that far too much. I feel like Sonic Adventure finds a pretty good balance. They mostly save that for those instances where he's just powering through loops and stuff like that.
Yep. I was playing through this game a little bit earlier today, and I was having some issues where I noticed that if I didn't land on those certain scripted areas just in the right spot, Sonic would just kind of fall into them and not run through them.
Yeah, it can be really frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
That was a test run using a new prototype propulsion system. It's got a few bugs to iron out.
Why not just use my plane, the Tornado?
Thanks, but you gotta check out my newest power supply.
Ta-da!
I always thought Sonic's facial animations were very over the top in this game.
Yep, I just happened to find
Well, as was the style of the time, Steffi.
But why isn't anybody else like that?
so I figured, why not use it to power my plane? Supercharged!
That's a good question.
You've gotta come over to my workshop, Sonic. I've got something I've gotta show you. It's in the Mystic Ruin. The fastest way is by train. Let's go!
What was that, Tails? I can barely hear you over all this background music.
Yeah, definitely some sound mixing issues. That is a problem with the game. So, like, one thing I really do like about Sonic Adventure, though, is I love how each character has their own theme song. Like, I just love when Sonic comes on the scene, you get the anthem of It Doesn't Matter, which was one of the big anthems of my childhood, along with Open Your Heart. Tails' theme is iconic to him, Knuckles. Some of it's even memorably bad in the case with Amy and Big. And all the levels have a great atmosphere too, so it's a really good soundtrack. It's one of the first games to have music by Crush 40, which is a big selling point for me. Those guys made the best Sonic music in my opinion. What do you think, Steffi?
Oh yeah, Crush 40 is awesome.
Alright, so Now we get to the opened up areas of the game, the adventure stages. So we got Station Square here. You can of course run around these areas, but to be honest, there's not a whole lot to see and do. Tails asked us to head to the Mystic Ruin, so we're going to go ahead and hop on a train. Not exactly sure why Sonic needs to take a train, considering he can run faster than the thing, but whatever.
I always wondered that too. And I would get
So,
lost
what do
a
you-
lot in these adventure fields.
So there's a good talking point. What do you think of the adventure fields, Steffi?
I really like the idea for them. I think it's like a creative way to go from level to level instead of it just being like, okay, we're here, now we're here, now we're here. But I feel like they could have designed it a little better, just because it is really easy to get lost and lose track of your objective when you're in this adventure zone. I do have to say, though, when I was younger and playing this game, one of my favorite modes to go in was like I forget what exactly it's called, the emblem mode, where you just get free reign of the adventure fields, and there's all these little puzzles and mysteries to solve. And that was really
That's actually something that's unique to the DX version.
Really?
But yeah, that wasn't in the original Sonic Adventure. But like, I've honestly never been a big fan of the adventure game, the adventure fields. I've always preferred a level-to-level formula. For example, for this part of the story, instead of, going to the next part of the story through the adventure fields, I would have much preferred just, having a level where Sonic and Tails run to his workshop, like maybe go through the city and then into the Mystic Ruins or something like that. And I feel like Sonic Team agreed with me, because it's something they dropped for Sonic Adventure 2. Of course, the adventure fields would come back with a vengeance in games like Sonic Unleashed and to a detrimental effect in Sonic Frontiers. And worst of all, in that game that came out in 2006 that we will not be discussing here, so don't go any further with it, Steffi.
I'll save that for when we stream.
I'm gonna have to play that one.
You gotta include it in the retrospective, my man.
You basically just run around the adventure stages until you find the next story beat.
Yeah, and there is like a little hint ball that you can activate if you're not sure where to go next.
Yeah. This is also the first Western Sonic game where Eggman was referred to by Eggman, whereas before he was always referred to as Dr. Robotnik. They even incorporated into the lore by having his real name be Robotnik and having Eggman be a nickname that Sonic gave him. Though I feel like Sonic might regret that nickname, because Eggman seems to have used it to name all his devices. To sort of turn it against Sonic, though how effective that is, I don't really know. Okay, Steffi, so now we are going to play everyone's favorite game show, What Was Eggman Thinking? So tell us, Steffi, what do you think Eggman was thinking with this hunk of junk?
I'm gonna shoot I'm going to shoot missiles and drill into the ground, and that will definitely stop Sonic this time.
I don't understand the logic behind this thing. Sonic is too fast to dodge missiles, and in some cases he's been known to hop on top of them and ride them back into you. And any machine that requires you to ram into Sonic, I mean, that's going to be ineffective because he's going to be too fast. He'll get out of the way. Like, what are you thinking, Eggman? Like, I'm barely even moving right here. In my younger days, I would just run around in circles, and he wouldn't even come close to me. But I'm just standing in one place.
Well, Jager, I've been rewatching the Sonic Boom TV show lately, and going from the perspective of that Eggman, well, it was a really cool idea, and I really wanted to show off my missiles and drill.
You know what? I have a feeling that's exactly what Eggman was thinking. He is an absolute genius, but he is prone to gross miscalculation. That is Eggman in a nutshell.
Gross miscalculation and a little too much self-absorption.
Well, that wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Yoink!
Okay, so what are you guys doing? You guys can move faster than the speed of sound. Just run up and take the damn thing.
Chaos?
Oh, it's the big drip.
Oh no, isn't that the same monster I saw the other day?
And yeah, why didn't you stop him while he was throwing it?
Oh, yes. It's just as the stone tablets predicted. His strength increases
I always thought it was kind of odd that Eggman was like relying on like this ancient prophecy this time. It seems out of character for him, doesn't it?
will destroy Station
Yeah.
on its ruins. I'll build Robotnik Land, the ultimate city, where I will rule.
They never explained how he's controlling Chaos either. I always kind of got the sense that Chaos was just kind of going along with it because he knew Eggman would lead him to the Chaos Emeralds.
That's kind of the vibe I'm getting too. Like he's feeding him, so he might as well listen.
No way, Tails.
Without more emeralds, the monster can't transform. So it's up to us to get the emeralds before Eggman does, huh?
Yeah, so that's the main gist of the game. It's a race for the Chaos Emeralds. There's another good talking point, Steffi. So one of the things a lot of the old school fans like to complain about is that the collection of the Chaos Emeralds is story driven now, whereas in the Genesis games, they were a collectible that was optional. A lot of people say it discourages replay value, and they're frustrated with the fact that you can't use Supersonic in the main game. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I was always kind of frustrated with how difficult it would be to get the Chaos Emeralds in the older games, but it was also like a big reward, and it was story related with most of the games, I believe. If you did collect all of them, like you got the secret ending or the true ending, or you got to actually play as Supersonic, whereas you just went through the game without getting the emeralds, you didn't get to see that or play as him. I like that it's incorporated now, and I mean, they seem like a big plot point. Like, if they have these all-powerful gemstones, why wouldn't they use them and fight over them? Like, why wouldn't the story involve them, you know?
Yeah, they're basically the Dragon Balls. And,
Yeah.
like, I've never really agreed with the statement that it means the game lacks the same replay value that the Genesis games had, because like they compensate for the fact that you don't have the emeralds or that you can't replay through the story with the emblems. So after you've played through each level in the game, you can go back to it in trial, and they have secondary objectives for you to complete. So that adds more replay value to the game. So like that complaint is just complete nonsense for me. It's replayable in a different way.
And it was really fun going back and completing the other missions too, because they were all be different things. Like the first objective is always, of course, to get to the end of the level. But then the other objectives would be like get to the end within a certain time, collect a certain amount of rings. In Adventure 2, they would have like hard mode where there were way more enemies and obstacles to get past.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do one more level of Sonic, and then we're going to switch to Tails.
Jagger, while you're playing this last level for Sonic, would you like me to recite some of the lyrics of Sonic's theme song?
Ah, what the hell. Go ahead.
Alright. Oh yeah. Well, I don't show off, don't criticize. I'm just living by my own feelings. And I won't give in, won't compromise. I just only have a steadfast heart of gold. I don't know why. I can't leave, though it might be tough. But I ain't out of control, living by my word. Don't ask me why. I don't need a reason. I got my way, my own way. It doesn't matter now what happens. I will never give up the fight. There's no way I will run away from all of my fright. long as the voice inside me says go, I will always keep on running. There's no way to stop me from going to the very top. It doesn't matter who is
I'm going to
wrong,
stop you right there for a
who is
second
right.
there, Steffi. So this right here is a good example of the physics at work. The level design here is obviously a lot tighter than what we had earlier, but it's by no means an issue because since I don't have the space to pick up speed, I still have the tight control to make the precise movements that I need. So it's just a testament to how good a game can feel if you really take the time to hammer out how the controls play.
Oh, definitely. They did a fantastic job with this game, and it really was a good start to the other 3D Sonic games to come.
And of course, everyone recognizes the music here from Sonic 3D Blast. And with this level, I always interpreted this as the special stage from Sonic 3D Blast. Like, that mesh track you're on, it looks like the track from the special stage in Sonic 3D Blast. And the Chaos Emerald is in here too, so who knows? Maybe that's what this is. Maybe that explains why there's a floating track high in the sky.
Huh. I never made that connection, but you're absolutely right.
Of course, that's just my fanboy headcanon, but it wouldn't be out of the norm. This was a time when Sonic Team did know what they were doing, whereas today they haven't got a freaking clue.
Oh, sadly. At least we still have the gems like these that we can enjoy over and over again.
Yeah, I'd rather race down a roller coaster than just being dropped in a big open world and being told to play fetch. Which is basically what Sonic Frontiers is to me.
To be
It's
fair,
not
I
a
also
progression.
Like that design.
It's not a progression in Sonic's game design. It's, you know, just Sonic Team wussing out from my perspective.
I feel like it's a more modern approach, but this stream is not Sonic Frontiers. This is Sonic Adventure.
We will get to Sonic Frontiers. Oh, we will get to Sonic Frontiers, and I am going to rip it a new asshole.
Ah, Jagger, don't discourage our fan base that like those games.
Well, this is my stream, and I'll say what I want. So, we're going to move on to Tails, but before we do, what do you think of the Sonic stages, Steffi?
I love the Sonic stages. They're so fast-paced. They're so much fun. They were always my favorites.
And when people praise Sonic Adventure, they're usually praising the Sonic stages, and rightfully so. It was a perfect representation of what Sonic should have been in 3D.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to switch save files and go to Tails.
Options. Choose. Select a file.
Let's see here.
Options. Choose the. Select your character.
Here I come, Sonic!
Here he comes.
Everything's working great! All
For now.
systems go full speed ahead.
You should have said that, Tails.
Is this plane a different color?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's gray. It's like that in the DX game, too.
I thought it was blue in the DX game.
Nah. That's only when he builds the Tornado 2 later in the game.
Okay.
You've lost control! You're going down! Pull up! Pull up!
Going down! Ah! Look out below!
Where were the police on this one? I'm pretty sure it's illegal to fly below buildings.
I don't know how much help the police would be in this situation.
See, like, a perfect example of the music in practice. You hear that music, it just represents Sonic presence so beautifully.
Boy, you're lucky I saw you come down. So what went wrong anyway? It's not like you to crash like that.
Yeah, it's just that I'm testing a new prototype power supply, and it's not fully compatible yet.
You can always borrow my plane, the Tornado, if you want.
Thanks, Sonic. But if I can make this work, it'll run circles around yours. Check out this power supply.
It's a Chaos Emerald. No way.
I was lucky to find one of the 7 Chaos Emeralds. They have unlimited mystic powers. Now I want to harness that power to fly my plane. Let's go to my workshop in the Mystic Ruins, and I'll show you what I've been working on. We'll go to the station, hop on a train, and get there in no time.
So when you play as each character, you get to see the same story unfold, but from everyone else's perspective, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, it is pretty neat, though. I gotta be honest, that method of storytelling doesn't have a good first outing when you switch to Tails, because much of his story runs alongside Sonic's.
Mm-hmm.
So if you play as Sonic and you go straight into Tails, it can make it feel just a little bit redundant.
Yeah, I am glad they didn't have you do the whole beach level again. But, yeah.
So we'll step out here and we'll talk about Tails' control. He plays pretty much the same as Sonic. He's still got that great play control, where if you tighten up the turning, he slows down, but if you let him pick up speed, he'll go faster. Where he differs from Sonic is he's got a tail attack if you're stationary, but if you do it while he's moving and do it, he'll do a roll attack. And of course, Tails can fly, but it's more of an extended jump than anything. By the way, can you hear the sound of the tails going from the 2D game, Steffi?
Yep. I love that
Yeah,
sound
that's
effect.
not in the DX game.
Mystic Ruins will be departing soon.
Yeah, he just goes like, yeah! In the DX game.
And now we gotta do this again. Do you mind if I just skip this cutscene, Steffi?
No, go right ahead.
It is funny during that cutscene, though, since it focuses on, the cutscene. What the cutscenes, like, it's funny, they seem to focus more on Tail, like, he's the hero instead of Sonic, which I think is kind of funny.
Yep. Speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about Tails' theme song.
Go ahead, Steffi.
When I'm all alone in my chair, I just go about wishing. I want to be strong. I really want to be trusted. When I'm all alone in my bed, I just go about yearning. I want to be cool. I also want to be like him. But that's not something I can do so easily. That's not simply my way, my style. Gotta get a hold of my life. I want to fly high so I can reach the highest of all the heavens. Somebody will be waiting for me, so I've got to fly higher. Gotta keep going. Everything is a brand new challenge for me. I will believe in myself. This is the only start for me. Really says a lot about Tails.
It really does.
Oh, look how proud of himself he looks.
Yeah. Tails is still adorable.
Tails will always be adorable.
We're gonna skip that and get a move on to Tails's next stage. I'm finding that we are talking a great deal. Like, there's just a lot to talk about design-wise here, so this stream might go on a little bit longer than usual, guys. So stick with us. We will be getting into the juicy stuff.
Yeah, I've noticed with Blade's streams that you can really tell when he's into the game, too.
Let's get going.
I'm
So
excited
Tails
for
of
it.
Stages are basically the same as Sonic stages. The only difference between them is that Tails' stages are shortened, usually the latter half of Sonic's levels, and here you're actually having to race Sonic to the end. Though that aspect is rather superfluous because the AI on Sonic is so stupid that it's almost impossible to lose to him. But what I like about Tails' stages is that they use the multiple character system in a way that I feel is for the best. Rather than, you know, having completely different gameplay, they just have you go through the same level, but tweaked a little bit to accommodate Tails' special moves, in this case, the flight. You got the rings there, which you can use to take shortcuts, and that really shines in the last level where you play as Tails, where there are sections where you have to completely rely on the rings to fly across big open chasms. I would have much preferred the entire game be like this, as opposed to what they end up doing, which is all these different play styles. Some are good, some are bad, some just being okay. What do you think, Steffi?
Yeah, I really like how they did this system with the levels. How, like, everyone kind of has the same levels, but they're all just tweaked a little bit. And I gotta say, unfortunately, we won't be getting to it on the stream, but my favorite Tails level is the Casino Zone level. And the reason for that is because in Sonic's version of that level, he's playing the casino games and trying to collect enough rings to be able to make like a stack of rings that he can climb up to reach the emerald. But Tails' version is completely different. You're racing Sonic through like the sewer system underneath the casino, and it's so unique and it's just so much fun.
Yeah, and like that's probably the worst part of Sonic's game too. Like that casino level just goes on forever.
Oh, it really does.
All right, so let's see what Knuckles has to offer.
Select your character.
Must have picked the wrong save file.
Select a file.
Yeah, this one.
Options.
I was concerned there for a second.
Select your character.
Okay, let's go.
Here I come, rougher than the rest of them, the best of them, tougher than leather. You can call me Knuckles. Unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle. I'd rather flex my muscles.
God, I hate that lyric. So that's ominous.
As far back as I can remember, I've been living here on this dark island, always guarding the Master Emerald from anything that could harm it. I don't know why I was given this job, why it was my fate. Destined to be here forever.
So we say the dialogue is hit or miss, but that right there, that's some really good writing right there. That's some great introspection for Knuckles.
Absolutely.
What the?
And then, of course, we get an idea of where Chaos came from. Our first clue that he has something to do with the Master Emerald.
I do feel like Knuckles' story really, like, pulls the story together. Like, it has the most lore and background, and it even has throwback to, like, basically the introduction of Knuckles in the older games. Like, he's the guardian of the Master Emerald, and Eggman, like, comes and tricks him somehow, and he loses the Master Emerald. I mean, I just love it so much.
Hey, no fair.
Yeah. Playing as Knuckles isn't exactly the high point of the game, but it's also where the story really starts to kick into gear, because you're starting to realize that there's far more going on than what we saw in Sonic and Tails' story.
No, it's starting to happen. Without the Master Emerald's power, this whole
And of course, this was also before Knuckles was dumbass dude bra, like he is in Sonic Boom, which thankfully they backpedaled on with Sonic Frontiers. I will give Sonic Frontiers that. There is some good characterization in that game. And it's really lucky that Angel Island didn't land on anything important.
It's up to me to find the missing pieces of the Master Emerald. It won't be easy. Pieces flew off.
Does he have a different voice actor in the DX version?
Looking anywhere I can.
Nah, it's the same voice actor.
Not sure why it sounds different to me.
So Knuckles' control, again, it's very much like Sonic and Tails. You let him pick up some speed, and his run cycle changes, and he goes faster. And of course, Knuckles can glide, he can punch. and he can climb stuff, which you can't really do in these stages.
Also, his hair is
Yeah.
very wiggly.
Yeah. So, you punch here.
I always love doing that.
Alright, so Knuckles stages, like Tails, take place within a specific portion of Sonic's levels. But rather than getting from point A to point B, the goal of Knuckles stages are to explore the levels and find the piece of the Master Emerald. As you see, I got a radar there. When I'm close to it, it turns red. But if I go away from it, it beats fast, it beats slower, and the color changes. So faster and the brighter color is what you're looking for. Now, on paper, I don't really mind Knuckles stages. Like, Knuckles is always a character in the 2D games that you would use to, you know, deeply explore the levels, since he could get to places Sonic and Tails couldn't. And I do feel for 3D, this game does make good use of Knuckles' abilities. But at the same time, when you free everything up like this, the problems with Sonic Adventure start to come to the surface. Namely, the camera issues, which can definitely be a problem in Knuckles stages. What do you think, Steffi?
I was gonna say the camera in this game is awful. It really hinders your progress.
Yeah, it was really designed for Sonic stages, you know, running forward, pointing in a specific direction. Freeing it up like this was just a poor choice in general.
Yeah, I'd also like to explore the camera when we do Big's levels, because it really hurts Big's levels.
So yeah, Knuckles stages aren't really bad per se, it's just... I would have preferred if they were still like Sonic's, just making use of Knuckles' unique ability. Like, you know, his climb ability, like bouncing between different walls. Like using vertical edges as like platforms, like in a Gargoyle's Quest, if you guys have ever played that. What do you think, Steffi?
I've never played that, but I do agree it would be pretty cool to use his abilities a bit more.
Yeah, like instead of that 1, 2, 3 punch that he has, like instead holding the button, and when Knuckles does that, he just kind of goes into a flurry of punches, and then he just becomes a vortex of destruction that goes faster if he gets an enemy with it. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and instead of getting like abilities like that, like later on in Knuckles' story, you get like upgrades that give him more abilities, but he just is able to like dig and things like that, so it's not really super exciting.
Yeah, and that kind of goes for all the characters too. You can't get upgrades for all of them, but they're all kind of superfluous when you get down to it.
Yeah.
But now we're going to get into one of the weaker parts of the game. And that is, of course, Amy sections. Oh, Lord, give me strength.
All right, Jagger, are you ready for these song lyrics? I got out my map and chose a place I wanted to go to. Packed up my stuff, set out for adventure. I know that your lucky color is that cool shade of blue. Won't mind painting myself blue for you. I guess I'm so easy to understand. I just do whatever comes to me naturally. Alright, I do understand the feelings of a Persian cat, but the Sphinx looked so cute I had to shave it. He reminds me of Parsley when he's standing there all alone. Makes me want to be his specialty. I guess I'm just a self-centered girl, but there are nights that I have trouble going to sleep. Are you okay? You seem to be a little tense. You don't have to worry about a single thing. We are free to get whatever that we want to have. We're also free to do whatever we want. That's what we'll do, yeah. That's what we'll do. We should live our lives the way we think it ought to be. I don't even have any words for this song.
You live in the world of Sonic the Hedgehog, Amy. Is this really the most terrifying thing you've ever seen?
Oh, but she's just so bored from not being able to follow Sonic around.
Yeah. This is back when Amy sucked. It's not like today in the IDW comics where she's absolutely amazing. Like, she's so cool in the IDW comics. I actually kind of want to see her and Sonic together. But here, she is just so obnoxious.
What's this?
Here's a fun fact for you, Steffi. Did you know that robot there is actually one of Gamma's brothers?
I did, actually.
Yeah, that's the E100 series E100, codename Zero.
Yep. He was like the prototype, wasn't he?
Yeah. And just like all of Gamma's other brothers, he's a complete idiot.
That was one of Eggman's robots, huh?
Why does everyone assume that every evil robot is Eggman's?
Don't worry, I'll protect you.
I mean, who else is going around building evil robots?
To keep us both from harm.
The proper answer there, Steffi, was experience. Okay, so playing as Amy.
Wait. Stop. Go pick up the statue.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you thought that was a real person, didn't you? So anyway, Amy's controls just suck, dude. So she builds momentum like Sonic and Tails do, but much slower, and her top speed is just miserable. This is as fast as she goes, and it's so easy to lose that speed. It just feels like she's dragging a ton of bricks.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's just, nope.
Everyone
It's just no
hates
fun to play as Amy. And she can't do a spin jump. Instead, you have to rely on her Pico Pico hammer. You can do that, which is kind of fun, but...
It does seem that the developers were aware of how much it sucks to play as her, though. She only has 4 levels in the whole game, and they are pretty uniquely designed, too.
There's that kick-ass music again.
That's Sonic's theme.
My hero, Sonic! Long time no see.
Amy.
I love that reaction.
What's your problem?
See, this little birdie's got in trouble. I think you should be his bodyguard a little while.
What?
Doesn't matter. We'll just tag along.
This was another part of the story that the anime adaptation really improved on.
Come on, don't run away.
Honestly, I was never fond of how Sonic gets adapted to Sonic Adventure. They just never should have done that.
Agree to disagree.
One of the benefits of the multi-character system is that if you play the characters out of order, sometimes you'll get hints on where you need to go in other characters' stories when they overlap like this. Like, I didn't know where to go when I first played it as Sonic, then I played as Amy, and suddenly I knew what to do in Sonic's story. And then there's this instance.
Look, Eggman's robot's on the loose.
Don't panic. I'll handle that bag of bolts. Now what's wrong? Huh?
It says cute couples can get in free.
Amy, will you focus? For being chased by a homicidal robot, for crying out loud.
She's so weird.
God, do I hate that music. Alright, so Amy's stages in essence are just more straightforward platforming stages. The only difference is that in addition to all this stuff going on, you also have to dodge the robot there. Though, really, that robot is so incompetent, it's more of a nuisance than anything. Like, the idea for Sonic Team with Amy's stages was to create more panic-induced stages, but because Zero is so easy to circumvent, that never really works out. In fact, I think I might have managed to off-screen Zero there.
Yeah, you did. He's really easy to get past, and it's not much of a threat.
See, this is a section that's unique to Amy too, and I think it's really neat. Just very disorienting.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about when I was saying how, like, her levels are just really uniquely designed.
I would prefer they just make Amy fast and give her a special move to make her levels feel unique, instead of this slow-paced chase sect or whatever. You back off! Stupid robot.
A really cool mechanic with the robot is that you can hit him with the hammer to knock him down, and then he'll get back up eventually. But each time you do that, it takes him less and less time to recover and get back up.
Not that you really need to do that anyway.
No, but it is cool that they made it that way. It's just a shame
Hold on
you
a sec, let me-
don't really see it.
Let me get this pop-up off my screen. Mr. Enter, I love your videos, but now is not the time. Back outside. See, you're supposed to hide in this barrel to hide from the robot, but he spawns before you can get in it, so what's the point? Just run away from him. He's not going to catch you.
You don't want to just
Tries to drop
make
in
your
front
way
of
through
ya.
the level?
And then you just jump on the balloon and now you're safe.
Oh no, however will he catch you now?
It's a good thing he doesn't have a gun to shoot that balloon. I guess A-Man miscalculated again.
Yeah, why doesn't that thing have missiles?
I don't know. Alright, so what do you think of Amy's stages, Steffi?
Well, like I said, that Amy is not fun to play as. She's very slow. I like the creativity in her levels. I do wish that they did feel more panic-induced, because that would make them more fun, instead of just like, I'll just walk past this robot really slowly. But at least she only has 4 levels in the game.
3.
Oh, 3, you're right. She does only have 3. Even better.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Amy's stages just flat out suck. Outside of the fact that her play control is awful, what they had the intention for her levels, while interesting in concept, very clearly does not work. And if the whole idea of your levels does not work, why are you even doing these levels? Or better yet, why are you even doing these slow-paced, panic-induced levels like in a Sonic game? Why didn't you just make Amy fast and give us more of the gameplay you had for Sonic and Tails? I mean, there's unique moves that you can give Amy. We've seen it in later Sonic games. Like, I don't understand why they thought you need to do that.
Yeah, her last level involves like this puzzle mechanism where you have to get 4 blocks of different colors that are scattered throughout the level and then bring them to a certain spot. And it just takes forever to do it because Amy's so slow. And then that
That's
E100 robot.
That's actually the second level.
Oh, that's the. Oh my gosh. But the E100 robot is just annoying. Like, he's not even, like, scary or a threat. He just makes it take even longer, and it's not fun.
Yeah, definitely not a big fan of these stages. Not at all. So, anyway, let's move on to our last playable character, which is E102 Gamma, which thankfully...
Jaeger, I believe you're skipping one.
No, I'm not.
We still gotta talk about Big.
Do we have to?
Yes.
Why did I have you on the stream if you're going to maybe do this, Steffi?
Jaeger,
Fine.
what kind of retrospective isn't gonna talk about everything?
Fine, we'll play as Big.
I did want to make
Lord.
a really quick comment about Amy real quick, though. Part of her story has a whack-a-mole game that you play with her hammer, and that is really fun.
So stupid. So stupid.
Oh, it's a windy and sunny day, and I can hear the faint sound of distant waves. The past weeks have been going by so fast, it's all the same, the bright sky and shining sun. I have a feeling it's going to be a fun day. Oh, it's a windy and sunny day, the many summers and many great games. Guess it's another trouble-free day. Our playground's so huge, we don't know where it ends. Feels energetic and groovy. Everything's cool. It's excellent. Everything's a new beginning, yeah. We don't know who we're going to meet today. The more I want, the less that I can get. Keep walking for a new tomorrow.
I'll give it this. It is better than Amy's music.
What's up with the tail? Hey, wait a minute! You swallowed my lucky charm!
Dear God.
Come back here! What's wrong with you? Something's not right. We've always been friends. For years. Doggy! Wait up! Oh dear.
So that's the gist of Big Story. We are chasing a freaking frog.
Froggy! Come out wherever you are.
Ugh.
Some of the worst level design in a Sonic game.
Alright, so I do have to make this comment on Big's voice acting because I would be remiss if I didn't. Do you know who his voice actor is, Steffi?
I do not. Who is his voice actor?
His voice actor is John St. John, who you probably know better for his most iconic role, one of the greatest video game characters ever, Duke freaking Nukem.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. Hail to the king, baby. Like, how is it that the most well-known voice actor in the game is somehow the worst voice actor?
Because he was picked for a bad character. That's what it is.
Jesus Christ. Sweet Son of Life, son.
It is really
Alright,
weird
so
that they just introduced Big into this game, and he's just here, and he doesn't really serve much of a purpose.
Well, from what I understand, the reason they created Big was because they created a fishing pole item so the characters could go fishing. But then they couldn't find a reason to make players use it, so they created a character where you had to use it. Here's an idea, Sega, Sonic Team. If you have an item that you can't get your playtesters to use, that should probably be an indication that you should nix the item because it's pointless.
Yeah, that seems like way too many extra steps that they went to just to make this fishing rod happen.
Yeah, and anyway, Bit's control sucks. He's even slower than Amy, and, like, this is what his movement amounts to.
Yeah, but
Like-
at least in his levels, like, you don't have to platform or anything.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's a Sonic game. I want to be platforming. I want to be going fast. Why would I want to play as this character?
Well, you're just gonna be fishing, my friend.
Ah.
Froggy, there you are. Wait, don't run away. What you doing under that car? What's wrong?
Don't worry, Froggy. I'll save you. Okay, so, like I keep saying, I would prefer if all the characters had Sonic's gameplay, and the question I always get asked is, you can't do that. It wouldn't work for Big. Yes it can, you just have to think a little bit. For starters, you could use his fishing line to swing across gaps. That could be one of his special moves, but what I think would be cool for Big is, let's say you go down a nice big slope. You start to pick up speed, and because Big sucks at what he does, he would actually trip over his own feet, and he would start rolling, and then because of that, you can't cancel out the momentum, so you just kind of have to go with the flow. You would hit half pipes, do stuff like that. It would be a unique spin on the gameplay formula, but it would still keep that fast-paced nature of the game. But instead, they just do something so stupid with this gameplay. Ugh. It's making me angry.
Somebody that designed this game just really, 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 really wanted to fish.
I like how he says ow when his tail gets caught in the door.
That always makes me laugh.
Okay, so why is it I hate big stages so much? What do you think you do in big stages? You go fishing.
That's all.
So you basically look around, you find Froggy, you cast your line,
Oh, and by
and
the
then
way,
you hope that...
the camera works against you, so it's really hard to look around and find Froggy. Like here.
Just kind. Come on, Froggy, take the bait. Take the friggin' bait. God, I can't even do this. Okay, I don't know what reviewer said this, but I always quote him whenever I talk about Sonic Adventure because he just so eloquently puts why these fishing stages are so stupid in a Sonic game. Having fishing stages in a Sonic game is like buying a Ferrari just to sleep in the back seat. And Ferraris don't even have back seats. Just... I'm not playing anymore with this, Steffi.
That's fair.
For crying out loud. It's so dumb. So dumb. What were they thinking?
And it's like, maybe if it would be a little bit more tolerable if it actually worked like it should have, but like, Froggy even biting the line seems to be luck-based, and then when he's on the line, when you reel the rod all the way in, sometimes he just falls off for no reason.
See, like, if I was the director of this game, and someone suggested to me that we put a fishing minigame in a Sonic game, I would slap them across the face, and I would fire them on the spot, because that person has just revealed themselves to be grossly incompetent. Why are there fishing stages in a Sonic game?
Although, the fishing stages in Sonic Frontiers are pretty neat.
God! Ugh. Gamma, please save us.
Unfortunately, folks, I do not have lyrics for this one because Gamma's song has no words to it.
Look at me. I'm your brilliant creator, Dr. Robotnik. You're the second of my E100 model machines.
Gamma's story is also pretty dark, too.
Yeah, like, it has nothing to do with the greater story, but it's just really interesting to see things from the perspective of one of Eggman's robots, because we often forget that Eggman's robots are actually capable of sentience to some degree. Yet, despite that, he treats his robots as disposable trash, especially Gamma and his brothers.
That's Eggman for you.
The shooting range is through this door.
Gamma's levels are
Your big
so
brother,
different from everybody's else.
E101 Beta is there practicing. Enter, Gamma. You're not as advanced as Beta is, but you'll do fine.
It's not important in the slightest, but Gamma's story is probably the emotional high point of the game. I actually remember it made my little brother cry when I was a kid.
It is pretty sad.
So Gamma stages are lock-on shooting stages. So basically you hold the button, you get a laser, and you use that to paint targets. Now that might sound counterintuitive for a Sonic game, but it actually ends up being kind of fun because, you know, Gamma stages are still pretty brisk. Like, they aren't exactly speed-based, but they're certainly better than, you know, fishing. Aw, man, I don't want to shoot Sonic.
But you're an Eggman robot.
Mission complete.
I still don't want to shoot Sonic. I remember when I got to, what was it? The Sonic boss fight in Sonic Adventure 2. I was actually scared to do that because I didn't want to hurt Sonic. God, I was such a dumb kid. Alright, so why not? Let's just do this boss fight that's next before we call it a night.
Sounds good.
Good job, Gamma. I didn't think you had what it takes.
You built me. Why did you build a robot if you didn't think it could achieve something?
If you want to stay on board, you must be able to pass it.
Eggman's not great at thinking things through.
No, he's not. Like I said, an evil genius, but prone to gross miscalculation.
The almighty egg carrier is a flying fortress that needs a good crew. Come forth, Beta. I'd like you to meet your older brother, E101. Just call him Beta. I am pitting the two of you against each other.
Why?
Winner serves on my ship. I put my bets on Beta, but I owe you at least a fair chance.
Yeah, thanks, Eggman. We're gonna fight this guy without even moving.
That's just
Yeah, more advance my butt.
Poor guy.
Mission complete.
You surprised me, Gamma.
Did I now?
Feeling there was more to you than meets the eye. I hereby grant Gamma permission to serve on board the egg carrier. What? So you want to come along with us, eh? Okay. We could always use a spare set of parts, I guess. You have special permission.
Okay, so what do we think of Gamma, Steffi?
Well, I'm sad that we didn't really get to see a lot of his gameplay because that first stage is so brief. But I do really like playing as Gamma. I always thought he was pretty fun. I think his speed works pretty well with his level design. And I love Gamma's storyline in this game.
Yeah, like I said, nothing to do with the overall plot. I don't think Chaos even makes an appearance in his story. But
No, he does.
It's just really interesting to see that side of the coin in the universe because you just never thought, like, Eggman's robots probably do have it hard. I mean, they do have feelings to some degree. It is genuinely sad what happens to Gamma. But yeah, and that
to empathize with an Eggman robot.
Yeah, and that's pretty much going to do it for Sonic Adventure. And I know we didn't get to see much of Gamma's level, Steffi, but that's also kind of the point of the format of these videos. Like, the idea is to encourage people to play these games rather than just watch me or someone else do it.
That's fair.
Do you think so? With that being said, what are your overall thoughts on Sonic Adventure, having taken the time to revisit it?
It's still one of my favorite games. It's still a game I love to play. It is unfortunate that now comparing it to like more recent games, it's really showing its age, and there are definitely some decisions the developers could have made. I'm also, like, after seeing the Dreamcast version, I'm just curious about the redesigns and updates in the DX version. Like, they don't really seem necessary.
So, like, there's an interesting question. Which do you think looks better, the DX version or the Dreamcast version?
I really feel like the Dreamcast version is better.
It's so bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah. Not what I was expecting.
Yeah. But, like, I pretty much feel the same way about Adventure. Like, I've always said that most of the 3D games that followed it, that, tried, keyword being tried, are better than Sonic Adventure. Like, Sonic Adventure 2 completely blows it out of the water. Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, much better. I'd even say something like Sonic Heroes is better than the first Sonic Adventure. And that's primarily due to all the extra crap in Sonic Adventure. Clearly I hate the fishing stages. Like, that was just so stupid. And Amy stages stuck. Gamma and Knuckle stages are okay at best, like, inoffensive. But Tails and Sonic stages are just so good, man. And the game is worth playing just for those stages alone. And they do make up the majority of the game. But, like, they should have made up, the vast majority of it. Like, everything else should have just been like a weird side game or something. And I've always said this, and a lot of people disagree with me, but how great would a remake of Sonic Adventure be, Steffi? And I mean a full-blown remake, not just updating the graphics. I mean actually going back, retelling the same story, but also, bringing everything up to a modern standard and, building the game to focus on the gameplay in Sonic and Tails stages as opposed to all the weird stuff the game does.
I would love that so much. Like, I would still want them to keep in, like, the little mini games and the little boss fights, but definitely if they could really, like, have a main focus on that gameplay for Sonic and Tails and, like, just keep that same formula for everyone, that would be fantastic.
Which, unfortunately, they're not going to do because, obviously, that kind of gameplay is difficult. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of why they kept adding crap to Sonic games over the years. That's also why they stopped doing the boost formula that Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations did. And that's also why they decided to do Sonic Frontiers, because it's just easier to design a big open wasteland for Sonic to go run around in than to develop a tightly designed level that has a unique movement to it. Like, that's why I hate Sonic Generations so much. It just reeks of Sega not wanting to try it with Sonic anymore. Mm-hmm. But that's just me, and I'm starting to rant. But anyway, I still really love Sonic Adventure. I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but it has aged. I don't think there's any denying that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's going to do it for tonight, Steffi. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the stream.
And we'll definitely have you on the stream for other Sonic games in the future. There are definitely some other ones that I know you want to come on here for. For some reason, you really want to be on here for Sonic and the Secret Ring, so I'll definitely be sure to give you a shout for that.
That's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and I'll actually be able to adjust the volume of the game sound on that. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed tonight's content, please like and subscribe. I do these videos every week, Saturday at 8 o'clock. What we do is we pick a random game and we play it for an hour and just talk about the design like we've been doing for tonight. Tonight's stream definitely ran longer than usual, but there's just a lot to talk about with Sonic Adventure, and like honestly, I could go on forever. I just love this stuff so much. Anyway, I hope you guys had a good night, have a good work week, and take care. And now here comes the part where I awkwardly try to end the stream. I really need to get a Steam Deck, don't I, Steffi?
Have a good night, everyone.